Allow him to make mistakes. To treat a grown man as if he's an incompetent child is completely disrespectful. Hello, beautiful. Welcome to Gems and Pearls with Love. I hope that all of you lovely and precious ladies are all doing well. This video is a highly requested one. We are going to be talking about mothering your man. I'm going to cover what does it mean to mother your man, why do we tend to do this as a woman, why you should stop mothering your man, and most importantly, how to get out of the habit of mothering your man. Before I dive into the video, I want to make sure and share with you guys, in case you are new here and you don't know, I opened up the option to become a member here on YouTube. And for my members, I do exclusive content. Currently, right now, as I'm recording the video, we are going through the book, The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands by Dr. Laura. So I would love if you would consider becoming a member, joining the discussion. The video that I just recently put out for my members is a really deep one. So if you are ready and willing and desiring to go really deep, learning some more things about being a biblical wife and other things when it comes to biblical womanhood, definitely consider becoming a member. You will either see a button that says join, or if not, the link will be in the description. All right, without further delay, let's get into it. So first, let's talk about what mothers do. Besides just loving and nurturing their children, they teach and train them. Children do not come out of the womb knowing how to do things. We need to teach them the basic skills in life. We need to teach them right from wrong, which brings me to my next point. As mothers, we also discipline and correct our children. We tell our children when they are wrong and what is the right thing to do. We also give consequences. So whether that is being grounded, whether that is getting something taken away, we give consequences for bad behavior. But we need to tell them what to do. I have to tell my children, please clean up your room and have it done within 20 minutes. Children also need constant direction and guidance. And depending on the age and what it is, most times we have to do things for them. So what I mean by that is I don't need to ask my 3-year-old, would you like me to cook you some breakfast, or would you like to make it yourself? I'm going to have to go ahead and assume that they cannot go and cook themselves some eggs. I'm going to have to do that for them. Husbands, on the other hand, or men in general, they are not children. They are able to do most things on their own. And if there's something that they don't know how to do, they are very capable of figuring out how to do it. And if they wanted your input or your insight, again, they are capable of asking you. When a wife does something for her husband, it's out of love, kindness, and just being able to take something off his plate. Unfortunately, in today's society, doing nice things for your husband, whether that's packing his lunch, making his dinner, so maybe serving him something, that is considered to be being a mother. They will say, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do his laundry because I'm not his mother. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing things for your husband, again, out of kindness, out of just trying to help him and take something off his plate. There's a huge difference, however, from I know you can do this, but I want to do it for you, versus you cannot do this, so I have to do it for you. Men do not need or want you controlling them or bossing them around. They do not want you telling them what to do, when, and how to do it. Most men also very much despise when we question everything they do. Men do not need, and most absolutely do not want, you trying to give them consequences as if they are a child. So because you didn't get your way, you don't like something that they did, you decide that you are not going to get intimate time tonight, or you are going to sleep on the couch or be in the dog house. Honestly, I really hate that term. It's disrespectful and degrading. His bed is as much his bed as it is yours. If you don't want to sleep with him, which I really hope you wouldn't have that attitude, but if you don't want to sleep with him, if anything, you should be leaving. Yeah, I said what I said. It's his bed as much as it's your bed. So there's no, you're going to sleep on the couch, you're going to be in the doghouse. He's not a child. We do not dish out consequences for actions. Doing that, even if it's simple things like a silent treatment, is still a form of trying to control him. Now, this one is something you may not hear too often, but men do not need you to coddle them. They do not need you to keep silent about your needs and desires in a way to kind of protect them in a sense. You should be able to be open with your husband, the man in your life, about the needs that you need to be met, or even the desires that you have. He is able to deal with those things. He's able to problem solve and figure out how he can maybe better meet those needs. Matter of fact, when you do that, it actually puts you in your masculine, because as feminine beings, we're supposed to be able to receive. So if you are feeling like you have to do everything and you're not supposed to receive from him, that's going to be a problem. Another thing that he does not need is your lectures. Whenever he makes a mistake, he does something wrong, he doesn't need you lecturing him and telling him, well, that's why you need to do it this way. If you had not done this, then this wouldn't have happened, etc., etc. You know, he's not a child. He doesn't need that lecturing. And we have to be careful that we are not talking down to him like as if he's beneath us. Why is this a problem? Why do women tend to fall into the trap of mothering their husband? Well, really, it's a pretty simple answer. As a woman, we nurture. That is part of what we do. That's within us as feminine beings. We nurture. And the thing about it is that nurturing versus mothering your husband, or even the way we nurture a child versus the way we nurture our husband, is different, but there can be a fine line. So it can be pretty easy to go on the other side and have things unbalanced. When we are a mother, it can be hard to kind of flick that switch off. You just finished like correcting, teaching, training your child to do whatever it is, and then to kind of switch from mom mode to wife mode can be a bit challenging. And that's another reason why we end up sometimes mothering our men. And lastly, control. It's a way to control. We want things the way we want it. We want it done the way we want it done. So because we want to have that control, that is also why we will step into that more, I would say, masculine role of mothering. Not that mothering in itself is masculine, but when we are trying to mother the men in our life, then yes, we are stepping in a more masculine, controlling, leading role. Why should you stop mothering your man? Why is it something that you should even be considering or be bothered with? Well, for one, it's disrespectful. To treat a grown man as if he's an incompetent child is completely disrespectful. Another problem is that doing this can cause the romantic feelings he has for you to diminish. If you are in the role of mom, then as much as he may still love you, those cozy romantic feelings that you want between a husband and a wife is not going to be there. He's going to lose that attraction for you if you are playing the role of mom. Another reason is the fact that, as I mentioned, it puts you in the masculine role, which messes up the polarity in the relationship. Another thing is the fact that it actually causes you to lose respect for him. You see, the thing is, a lot of us women think we want control. And even though we might not actually say we want control, by our actions, we seem like we want to have control. We want our men to do things our way. But the funny thing the interesting thing I should say is about that is that when he actually does relinquish that, like his will, and start to allow you to control him, when he actually does step in that more feminine role to be led instead of lead, it actually causes us to be less attracted to him and to respect him less. No matter what a woman says, I feel pretty confident to say that we want to be led. I don't care how feminist you think you are, how much of a feminist I should say you think you are, you want to be led. It's within us. We may deny it, we may not realize it, but we want to be led. So when you are the one taking on that leadership role and he ends up stepping back, we are going to lose respect for him. And we are also very likely to become bitter and resentful. Okay, so you know what it means to be mothering your man. You know why you should stop mothering your man. But now let's talk about how we can get out of the habit of doing this. One really important thing for you to do, my love, is to come to the realization that this is a grown man that would be just fine doing life without you. So he doesn't need you to constantly guide him and correct him and teach him to do things. He is competent enough to do things on his own, or as I said, figure out how to do things. If for any reason you are not in his life is going to go on and he'll be just fine. You know, that may seem like common sense, but we really need to actually remind ourselves of this often. And I remember one scenario where I got that realization, that light bulb turned on. And it was when I was driving with my husband. And I was being that typical passenger, telling him, slow down, whatever it is. And then I had a light bulb moment where I realized that, okay, my husband drives to and from work without me 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. He drives places all the time without me. And the same way how he's able to do that without me sitting beside him in his ear, it's the same way he can do it now. So I really do not need to try to control the way he's driving. I don't need to tell him how to do this. He's quite capable of figuring that out himself. So that's what I mean by having that realization and reminding yourself very often that if I'm not here to help him with this or to remind him or to tell him this or whatever it is, he'll figure it out. If you are a believer, take it a step further and trust God with him. At the end of the day, as much as you love him, God loves him even more. He literally created him. He has a plan and a will for your husband's life. So we have to have enough faith in God that at the end of the day, I can trust you. I don't need to, push him to read his Bible. I don't need to push him to go to church. I don't need to do any of those things. Like, of course, I can be an encouragement, but I don't need to control it. I can relinquish that control by trusting God to guide him, to lead him, to teach him things, to convict him, right? I talked already before about us women sometimes taking on the role of the Holy Spirit, feeling like we have to be the one to bring that conviction. That is God's job. We do not and should not be taken upon that role. Another thing you want to do is to be sure to step out of the masculine role and into the feminine. And one of the best ways to do that in this situation is to step back, take a step back, relax. Girl, go and drink some water. Just realize that you do not need to control this situation. Allow him to figure things out. Allow him to make mistakes. That is part of being an adult. We make mistakes and we have to learn from them. Matter of fact, that's actually part of being a child too, right? But that's the thing. We've gotten that growing up stage. That stage is over now. And now, as adults, we may have to learn the hard way. Unless your husband is in danger, unless it's something that is like really urgent, you need to just let things happen. Let's say, for example, if your husband has a habit of losing his car keys and this causes him to be late for work. If you've already maybe said to him, hey, hun, I bought this keychain. You can go ahead and put your keys there so that way you can find it next time. And then he decides that when he comes in, he's still going to put it here, put it there, put it all different places. Instead of being the one to always feel you need to take his car keys and put it up for him, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with helping him by doing that. But I'm just using this as an example. You may need to learn to step back and allow things to happen. So if that means that he's going to end up being late for work and possibly get written up at work or whatever the case is, then it may take that for him to realize that, you know what, I really need to do better with putting my keys on the keychain, or even saying, babe, can you please, if you see my keys, do you mind just putting it up for me? I'm really tired when I get in and I forget sometimes. So if you could put it up for me, like, as I said, I'm just using that as an example. But basically what I'm trying to say is that unless it's a situation where he's in danger, you're in danger, where it's urgent and you have to like say, babe, look, don't cross the road, a car is coming. And that's just something that is urgent. Allow things to just happen. Allow him to learn on his own. It's not your job to be there as that mother protector, that mama bear, ready to just jump in at any point in time. Believe in him. Believe that he is grown enough, he is competent enough that you are able to share your concerns, you can share your thoughts, and he can be left to figure things out from there. You do not need to hold his hand the whole way. You do not need to direct and guide him. He can figure things out on his own. It is very important to go from giving him the message of you can't, so I have to show you, to I believe you can. I believe you'll figure it out. I believe you got this. Lastly, please stop referring to him as a child. It is not a joke. It is not funny. I know a lot of women do this. If they have 3 kids, they will say, I have 4 kids, and one of them they are referring to as their husband. That is disrespectful. And if you do that, I really have to suggest that you stop. Again, it is disrespectful. And remember that the Bible teaches that there is life and death in the power of the tongue. There is power in our words. So you need to stop declaring that he's a child. He's a child. Stop putting that out there. He's not a child. He's a grown man. He's a capable man. He's a strong man. Start speaking life, not just to him, but even about him, even when he's not there. It's not funny, my love. I feel like I can already hear well, if he would get himself together, or if he just would stop doing this, then I would stop, because then he would stop acting like a child. I don't, honestly, with all due respect, it doesn't matter what your reasons are. You need to stop referring to your husband as a child. I'm going to wrap this video up by saying that when you make these changes, when you work towards this change, and by the way, make sure you pray about this. That is the most important thing you can do. Then even all the actions, make sure you pray about it. But you will see the polarity return in your relationship. You will see that spark, that fire that you want to have in your relationship either get bigger or be there at all. Because if you've been doing this for a long time, and to a great extent, there's a chance that that spark is not even there anymore, right? And the good thing is too, you will notice that he will start to step up more because you allowed him to. And I really encourage you to watch my video where I talk about how you can inspire him to lead, I think is what it's called. I don't remember, but I will link that down below because that's another video that may kind of go in line with this video if that's something that you're dealing with, where you realize that he's having a hard time leading. So yeah, that is all I have for you. I hope I did this topic justice. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. That really is helpful. And also go in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Maybe even share some stories about maybe times when you were mothering your man, where you've seen someone mother their man. And yeah, we will finish the discussion below. Don't forget to consider becoming a member. Until next time, bye-bye.